Hello. So in this video, I wanted to share with you the difference between the KonMari method, minimalism, and survivalism, and point you in the direction of 3 books that talk about those concepts. Marie Kondo's Netflix special came out not that long ago, and a bunch of bad reviews surfaced. And when I looked into why would anybody not like this woman or her show, all the commentary I saw suggested that people either hadn't read her book or they didn't know the difference between those 3 concepts. So here we go. First book that's up, The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, The Japanese Art of Decluttering and Organizing by Marie Kondo. So just starting as a child, she loved tidying and organizing, and she grew to be a very intelligent, very observant woman who picked up on psychological patterns that would help people to truly break out of the cycle of clutter and just feeling overwhelmed by their belongings or being unhappy and not understanding why. What's fascinating is that her psychology completely and totally adds up. It is not about having a better organizational system, getting a better organizer for your closet, and it's not even necessarily about having less things. Marie Kondo is not a minimalist. So taking a look at what she is all about, her main focus was helping people to experience joy. Marie Kondo wants you to be happy. She wants you to experience joy. And she found that one of the greatest ways of achieving that was taking the time to make sure that the belongings that you were surrounded by, the items in your life, actually spark joy rather than sadness, anger, tiredness, worry. And so it's such a valuable exercise to follow her instructions, because it works for a reason. The KonMari method works for a reason. Follow her instructions and go through your items category by category, not room by room, category by category. Handle things, shuffle things around, move them, breathe some fresh air, because honestly there is stuff hiding in and under other things. Take some time to move things, handle things, pause and reflect. Does this spark joy? And then if it doesn't, have a moment of thankfulness for the role that that item played in your life, so you're not just treating things as completely disposable. It played a role, be thankful for that, and then pass it on. And so I highly recommend read it in its entirety. If you try the KonMari method, do it in its entirety, and remember this, she's not asking you to get rid of everything. She's an incredibly smart woman and has realized that, you know, things that don't spark joy need to go. And so it sounds like she has fewer things, she has fewer belongings, but not necessarily because she's a minimalist. It's just because she really only keeps things around her that spark joy. So if you have 4,000 shirts, you handle every single last one of them and ask, does this spark joy? And 3,997 of those shirts spark joy, and you only end up getting rid of 3. Guess what? Marie Kondo is going to be happy for you. She just wanted you to get rid of the 3 that weren't sparking joy. So check this out, the KonMari method. Awesome. And takes you really close, so much closer, like it moves you forward in being a more joyful person. Next concept up and book that goes along with, Minimalism. I highly recommend picking up Goodbye Things by Fumio Sasaki. What I really like about his book and his approach to sharing his story of minimalism is that he highlighted that Japan as a country got a wake-up call. How many belongings do you want to have is a question that you really explore after an earthquake causes everything you own to become a flying projectile aimed for your head. Your belongings can kill you, and an earthquake taught a lot of people that in a very short period of time. So the earthquake really made him rethink what he wanted to have around him, but it was a wake-up call realizing that he was so unhappy and his belongings had a lot to do with that. He was stuck in a cycle of, I'm unhappy, I'm buying things to try and make myself happy, the things that I own are creating more stress, which is making me unhappy, and down he went. But practicing minimalism and moving farther and farther down that path, down that journey, started this beautiful upward spiral. He was feeling more free, better understood who he was leaving his apartment more and going and exploring the world, making his world bigger. So with that in mind, minimalism, that journey of moving towards owning fewer and fewer things, his story just makes it so practical, very real. He's very personal in this book here, and gives you some great places to start off for taking that journey yourself. So that's Minimalism, and that's a book I would recommend picking up to learn more about it. Survivalism, totally different. So for that, this book here, Surviving Off-Grid, Decolonizing the Industrial Mind by Michael Bunker. Oh my goodness, survivalism, minimalism, not the same thing. Minimalism is taking a look at owning fewer things, spending your money on fewer things. And decolonization of the mind, removing yourself from the industrial grid, is taking a look at the fact that off-grid living often still relies on some kind of system that is unsustainable. To give you an example of that, you have the electrical grid, which is essentially government run in some way or is an industrial body. And people say, I don't want to be a part of that. I want to go off-grid. So they purchase solar panels. Well, all they've really done is they've created their own separate grid. It's just barely removed. In the end, if a major natural disaster happened, and if their solar panels got damaged, you have to go back to an industrial source to have those panels repaired or to have them replaced. And so ultimately you still end up being out of power. And so survival is still very short, despite the fact that you feel like you removed yourself from the larger government or industrial grid. Same thing with food supplies. If somebody thinks, I'm going to survive because I have this huge stockpile of canned food. Well, you definitely planned ahead and you're not relying on the grocery stores for now, but if the disaster is long enough and so you run out of your canned food, do you know how to grow your food, preserve the seeds? Do you know how to store food for a long time without it, perishing? How do you make it through the winter? And so all these different things, this particular author is asking people to completely reevaluate their reliance on government systems, on industrial systems, on consumerism, and what we consider, the necessities of life. Are they in fact actually killing us by making us more dependent and causing us to lose all of our living skills that would help us to actually survive should those government systems collapse? And if you look back through history, the system is going to collapse. The fall of empires happens throughout history, and there's clues that it's coming up possibly in our lifetime, children's lifetimes or grandchildren's lifetime. The next collapse is not necessarily that far away. So taking a look at that, survivalism is not just about being prepared, having your bunker. It's taking a look at, have you so removed yourself from the system that you are able to actually survive? And not just because you created your own system. Do you have the living skills to be able to make it? It's really fascinating, and you can hear I'm speaking a little bit less confidently about that one just because I'm still working through it. There's so much material in here to chew through. But just this particular book, oh my goodness, survival is not what we thought it was. So if you've ever heard about off-grid, it's not good enough. Pursue true survivalism, pick up a copy of this book, and learn more about what it means to be off-grid. Now, the last thing that I want to share with you about these different books and the different authors, some of the bad press and people's bad reviews, it's a reflection of the fact that they either didn't understand or are just being triggered, I guess, for lack of a better word at the moment, by somebody else's faith. So the author's faiths end up shining through in their writings, some more than others. So for the three that I mentioned here, Fumio Sasaki didn't have any particular faith that really seemed to stand out, just he didn't really address that directly. For Marie Kondo, it's been suggested that her faith might be shining through more strongly. I'm less familiar with her faith, but they were talking about that might be why she talks about moving things around and saying thank you, just if there might be a spirit in the object that you are discarding, or a spirit in your home, addressing it and being thankful, being respectful. That can play a part of her particular method. Michael Bunker does not hide at all that he is Christian, and I think he described himself as Christian agrarian separatist, which I'm not familiar with what he means by that. He does refer to other books where he expands on that topic more. But whatever an author's faith is, you can read a book and hear about somebody's different perspective on life, their different foundation for life if it's different from yours, and not reject the book. There's so much good information in these books. Please don't get turned away by something that seems fruity or hippie or just, is a different faith from yours. You can read it, you can evaluate, and then you use your brain to sift that information and figure out what you want to keep from the book that you read and what you can say is just, that's for the author, that's not for me, and then walk on by, just let it pass you by. So with that in mind, I'll stop blathering and just ask, please, if you have any thoughts on these concepts, if you've come across other valuable books that you think people would enjoy reading because it would help them understand these concepts better, please share them in the comments. And then to go along with that, if you found this video interesting, please share the video with other people that you think would be interested, and remember to subscribe. I'm going to keep posting other videos just about my squirrely thoughts and what's on my brain at the time. But I love sharing things I think would be helpful for the people who watch them. So I hope this one was helpful for you, and all the best.